Hi everybody, it's Alicia Markfort. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and I live in St. Paul, Minnesota. Today I am going to share with you my Paradise Garden class to go. Normally I go live every week on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Central Time, but this week I'm pre-recording my video. You're still going to watch it on Thursday, but I'm not able to do a live this week. I will not be home. I will be in St. Cloud. So I am going to flip this over to my tabletop. And here you go. This is the Paradise Garden stamp set and die set. It's a bundle. This is an absolutely gorgeous floral stamp set, and it has wonderful sentiments. Thank you. You make the world a better place. Wishing you a lovely day. You are appreciated. Just some beautiful sentiments and stamps with the leaves. It's really a pretty set. And then these are the dies. This also comes with a 3D embossing folder, because this die right here is a, I think I have it sitting right here. Well, these are the dies, and then there's one more die. This is like a really big set. It's really cool. So this right here, this die goes inside of this when you're running it through the Stampin' cut and emboss machine. And it's really a lot. It's really pretty. This is a 3D embossing folder. This is a March online exclusive, so you can find that in my online store. So I'm going to set this stuff aside. And let's move. The dies are great because I love whenever there's like shapes or sentiment labels, and I love this. Was that like a hexagon, and then here's like a banner, and here's another sentiment label, and they fit the sentiments to the bundle, so that's really great. Okay, so these are the cards that we're making this week. So in my online store, when you spend $50 or more before tax and shipping and after rewards, you will receive this card class to go for free as a thank you gift from me. So everything that I show you today, that will be in your kit. So you'll receive the cardstock, everything's pre-cut, except for if it comes in the bundle, and the stamping. That would be something that you would do. And so, yeah, so these are the 4 cards we're gonna make. I love that there's Poppy Parade. I love it. I love the Poppy Parade. There's just not enough red colors. And I'm also in this is a suite, okay? Peaceful Garden is the bundle. The Garden Poetry is the suite. And in the suite, you receive the designer series paper that you'll see in today's video. Also, you'll see this shimmer foil specialty paper. Comes in 3 colors. And we'll be using that today on this card. It is super pretty, you guys. It is just, I don't know if you can see, but it has a little texture to it as well. And there's berry burst, there's shaded spruce. Isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh, you guys, this paper is just so gorgeous. Let me see if I have it right here. Yeah, so it's berry burst, blueberry bushel, and shaded spruce. I just want to pull out the piece of blueberry bushel so you can see the colors. So they're so brilliant and so beautiful, and like I said, it has a texture and it shimmers. Obviously, this comes with, it's 12 by 12 sheets. Super pretty paper. It's just gorgeous. So that is in the suite, as well as the Garden Epoxy embellishments, the Garden Epoxy dots. That's also in the suite. Let me pull those out. Those will be using on the cards today. And then also included in the full suite, besides the stamps, the dies, the embossing folder, the DSP, this beautiful berry burst ribbon. It is so pretty. The colors, they're so brilliant, so bright. So even though it's like a deeper color, it still just seems bright to me. Okay, so that is what's included in the suite. And so we're going to be using pretty much everything from the suite. Well, these cards, like this one, I use some different embellishments on. I use that Hues blue flower colors, I think they're called, these little flowers. When I'm making the video, I am going to use some of the Garden epoxy dots just to see if I like it better. And also I used a gray granite ribbon on this Poppy Parade card, and I think during today's video I am going to switch it up a little bit and see if we maybe use some Secret C and see how that looks, just to give us a different taste. Also, I am going to be sharing a technique with you that you use colored pencils for highlighting, because you don't use blends with this stamp set. You just stamp right in your ink for this stamp set, because there's no coloring with these stamps. All right, so I'm going to move these out of the way. I'm going to keep this one here so that we can see what we're making. And let's pull out our first kit. So you will receive, everything will be in an envelope. And if there's anything extra that needs to go in the class to go, it will always be in your first card, not card number 1 in the envelope. And so that's why there's this extra sheet of 5.5 by 8.5 piece of basic white cardstock. This is for your stamping and die cutting. So that will be in your first sheet. I'm going to leave this out because I'm gonna just use this for my, because I'm going to be stamping and die cutting in today's video. I didn't do anything ahead except for cut everything. So you will receive a piece of Misty Moonlight that will be cut and scored for you for your card base. You'll receive a basic white mat for the inside of your card. You'll receive a piece of basic white to stamp and die cut your sentiment. You'll receive 2 pieces of basic white squares, one for your mat, one to stamp on. And this card right here is just stamping. The only die cutting, I guess there is die cutting, would be the sentiment. And I did call this a SIP card, which means stamps, inks, and paper, but I forgot about the sentiment, so it really truly isn't a SIP card, but it's pretty darn close. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this stuff aside just to give us a little bit more space, and I'm going to start with my stamping right away and my coloring. And what we're going to stamp in is Fresh Freesia, Petal Pink, and Granny Apple Green, and Daffodil Delight. Okay, I believe it was Daffodil Delight. It might have been Crushed Curry. I think it was Daffodil Delight, yeah. So I'm going to take my first stamp, and as you can see, mine is well loved and well used, but it is clean. And I'm going to ink this up in Fresh Freesia. And you're going to use the smaller square. The larger one is for the mat for your card front. And we're going to ink this up. And I am going to go, there's no right or wrong way. It's just a random pattern, whichever way that you'd like. And I'm going to go on the left, not all the way to the edge, but pretty close. And not quite the middle, but sorta. You get my drift. Okay, and there's my fresh freesia. And I must have a very juicy ink pad. Then I'm going to close this up, and I'm going to take my Petal Pink ink pad, and we're going to stamp some of the smaller flowers in Petal Pink. And we're just going to do 2. And I'm just going to do the flower, and I'm going to go like this. Could go maybe even at a little angle. And then I'm going to stamp it again. And I'm going to go on this side right here. And I'm just going to go off the edge. You won't get the whole flower petals, but you'll get some of it. And then I'm going to take my Granny Apple Green. I'm going to close up this Petal Pink before I make an absolute mess, right? Okay, and then I'm going to take my Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to take this larger leaf, and I'm going to ink that up. I must not have stuck my stamps on very hard. And then I'm just going to turn it this way, and I'm just going to kind of fit this in where there's space. Like I said, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just, oops, and I did not stamp down hard enough. Let's see if I think I can get it again, because it is a clear stamp. So, and I did. So I'm going to ink it up again. And I'm just going to go right about here. And then I'm going to take it and actually, I think I'm going to use another one of the leaves, one of the smaller leaves. I think I have a smaller one. Yeah, there's a smaller one in here, and it has 3 leaves. And I'm going to use that up here because I don't have much space left. So I'm going to grab another block. I'm going to load this up. And when I load my stamps up, I always just flip my stamp over onto my glass mat. And I just pick it up like that. Okay. We're going to ink, ink, ink. And then we're going to go right up in this left-hand corner here. And I'm leaving enough space so that I can add some of those, the detail stamp, those little sort of dots. So there we have that. And you can see it's not exactly the same as this, you know, my original, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be exact. Everything, you know, it's always different. Then I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to fill in this white space here. Like that. And then I'm going to kind of go down here in this little corner like that. So we have our stamped image, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a wipe, because I stamped right on. I didn't use scrap paper, and I just used my glass mat, and then I just go and I just wipe it off. And there, we're all set. So when I'm, you know, in my room and I'm crafting and whatever, I don't always grab my scrap paper because I like my glass mat. You can just do everything right on your surface. Okay, so I did say at the beginning I was using a different technique, and this is with highlighting with colored pencils. So you're using like a mixed media because you're using your stamp pad and you're using your watercolor pencils, but we're not watercoloring with them. We're just using them as a highlight, kind of like when you use your blends. So we're going to do some highlighting with that, and then I am going to take the Wink of Stella, and I am going to go over that a little, and it will give it a little, like, take that edge off of the color pencil. So I'm going to use Flirty Flamingo, Gorgeous Grape, and Garden Green for my colors. And the first thing we're going to start with is we're going to start with this gorgeous grape. And I'm just going to take my colored pencil and I am just picking a few spots and doing some highlighting on my flower. I'm just kind of, there's no, wherever you think that you need a little extra highlighting. And I'm just taking my, and I'm not, as you can see, I'm not like coloring really hard, or I'm just going along and adding some highlights. If you wanted to add a little bit more like color and a little bit more depth, you can take your colored pencil, and if you just go in a small circular motion, you can do that. And then when you use your Wink of Stella, it will blend out more than just making the little lines. And then what I like to do is where the stamp, when you ink up your stamp, it leaves the little white lines in there, which I love. I'm just going to make like a little flicking motion like that. And it doesn't have to be, it can be light, it can be hard, and I'm just kind of going in between the white. And I'm just going to add a little here, and I'm going to add some here. And we're going to do the same thing on the other fresh freesia flower. And like I said, I'm just flick, like it's like a flicking motion. You don't have to draw a line. It's easier to kind of do that little, when you, how do I say it? It's easier to get a natural curve if you're using that little flick. Okay, so I'm just going to go here, and then I'm going to, over here on this side, I am going to add a little bit more. So I'm going to go in that little circular motion, just like this, and then I'm just going to make my little lines in a few other spots. You don't need a lot, just enough to give it a little bit more depth to your stamped image. We're going to do the same thing. I'm using Flirty Flamingo on the petal pink. And like I said, I'm doing the same exact thing as on the fresh freesia. It does not take a long time. You just kind of scribble. It's basically what it's like, is just scribbling, which is kind of fun. I don't know if you guys like to color, but I love to color. It is so relaxing for me. So because I couldn't color on this one, it was just stamping. I had to add a little bit of coloring in on it, right? All right, so here we go. I'm just going to do a couple more flicks, a couple more, and then I'm going to go with the Garden Green. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to do a few highlights. Not a lot, just a little. And you can even put some on the stem. I'm just going like this, making that little. And you do not have to do this step. If you'd like, you can just stamp and move on. This is just a little bit extra step, just a different technique to show you the mixed media. And if you just wanted to add a little bit of oomph and you don't need to use blends, you can just use your colored pencils. Go like this. I'm going to do a little bit more here, just to give it a little bit more for when I add my Wink of Stella. And that is it. So I'm going to put these away or I will lose them. If you know me, I can never find my stuff, and it's because I never put it away. So now I'm going to take my Wink of Stella, okay? And I am going to make sure I've got some. I'm going to shake it up. And I'm just going to go real lightly over that colored pencil. And where you did the circular motion, you want to do the same thing there. Otherwise, if you just made a line, just kind of go over that line. And it's okay if it goes out of the lines, because there is no line per se on these stamps. So I'm just taking that, kind of using it like I would a water pencil or water brush. And then I'm going to go back on this flower, because I have, when you use the Wink of Stella, you do get a little bit of the colored pencil on there. So I do have some of that gorgeous grape on there. So I'm just continuing to the next purple flower so I don't mix my colors. And then I'm just go on my glass mat, wipe it off, and then I'm going to move over to the Flirty Flamingo colored pencil on the petal pink. Just like this. I just really like that because you get a little bit of the glimmer from the wink of Stella, and you're getting that, it's kind of like, will look a little bit like watercolor, not completely, but a little bit, because you're getting that little bit of that blend in there. Okay, and then, well, here, I'm going to go over this one more time. Okay, and then I'm going to do the green. So I'm just going over the spots that I added the watercolor pencil. And if you go a little bit over, that's okay. Just go with it. Like I said, it just kind of adds that little extra special. Looks like you did, you drew it yourself maybe a little bit. It looks like art. Looks like a water painting, watercolor. Okay. That. And if you don't want so much of the green, you can wipe it off in between to get that color off, because you are picking up that color from that color pencil. Alright, so I'm satisfied with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Misty Moonlight card base and I am going to fold. I'm going to set this aside so the Wink of Stella dries somewhat. I'm going to fold this and we're going to burnish it with our bone folder and get a nice crisp edge. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my basic white mat and I'm going to just set it here right now. I'm going to clean off my detail stamp that we used in the Daffodil Delight because I'm going to use Misty Moonlight now. So I'm going to clean my stamp off with my chamois. And then I'm going to take Misty Moonlight. So I'm going to do color on color. And it's just enough to make that matte pop up off of the page. And then I'm going to, I know where this is, so now I can kind of eye that up. And I'm going to go here. And I'm just going to do 2 down here. So I'm going to go 1 here. I'm going to put this back so I can see, because I don't want to go past too far. I mean, you can go past it because my other one is. And then that's all I did, just to add a little bit of detail onto the front of the card. And then I'm going to take my seal and add this to my card front over the place where we placed our detail stamp. I'm just going to press that down. Then I'm going to take, ooh, look at it, I'm getting ink everywhere today. Now I'm going to take this and turn it over and I'm going to add some dimensionals onto the back of this. Just like so. Okay, and I'm going to peel these backs off. And make sure I don't have anything here. And I am going to put this right in the center of our square mat. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to stamp the word the sentiment "you are appreciated" on that piece of basic white that's in your kit. And we're going to stamp it in Misty Moonlight. And then we are going to cut it out with our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Probably don't need a piece this big, but you just go right in the middle. I must have, oh yeah, see, look, I was wondering why I was getting blue everywhere. Well, that's my answer. Okay, we're going to close this up. I'm going to kind of push these out of the way because I'm going to grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine in a second. First, I'm going to take this die and I'm going to put this right over the sentiment I just stamped. And I'm going to adhere that on here so it doesn't move with some Post-it tape. Okay, so let's grab our big guy here. And we're just going to run that through real quick. And just like that, we have our sentiment. Okay, you are appreciated. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that right about here, but I want a faux bow on it, and we're going to use some linen thread. And I know I have it out here somewhere because I did pull it out, but like I said, you know, I'm terrible when I'm creating and I'm crafting. My desk is just an absolute disaster. So I'm going to take a piece of linen thread. Does not need to be very big, and we are going to make a faux bow. And when I make a faux bow, I figure out where I'm going to place it, which I did here, and then I'm just going to lift this up, and I'm going to put some seal right here, and I'm going to take my piece of linen thread and find the center. I'm going to take my finger, I'm going to just put it down at a slight angle over where the seal is that I just put down. And then I'm just going to make a faux bow. And you're not tying it, you're just placing it on that seal. And I do want it to go a little bit at an angle. And then I'm going to flip this over, and I am going to put dimensionals on this. I'm going to use minis. And on this side here, I am going to add 2. We're going to double stack our dimensional because this first one is a layer. It's going to be 2 layers. And then I'm going to put just 1 on the other side, leaving the center open for space for the faux bow. Okay, I'll flip this over, and we're going to go like this. So part will go on the card base, but make sure not to go too far over so it fits in your envelope. And then there, and then I'm just going to trim these ends off, just like that. And now I am going to add some of these super cute, fun garden epoxy dots. And like I said before, I used a different embellishment because I thought, oh, those flowers would be so cute, and they are. They're super cute. But you know, I think I wanted to use the daffodil or the crushed curry. I think it's probably crushed curry to mimic the detail, because we have detail here. I want to put that there. But let's see what these look like with the flower center. Oh geez, now I got this stuck on my glass mat. Oh boy. Okay, come here. Come on. Okay, here we go. That's still hopefully is sticky. Yeah, I'm going to use these, the clear with that little flower in the center, and I'm going to put 1 right here. Oh yeah, that looks super cute. And then I'm going to try to pick up another one. Get it really on there, huh? But I'm going to go this way instead so it doesn't go on my glass mat. I'll push it that way. I'm going to put 1 right here, and I'm going to put 1 right there. So there's card number 1. What do you guys think? I really like this. I think it's so pretty, and I think it looks great with either embellishment. You could do the solid one instead of the clear, or you could pick out of your stash and pick a different one. So there's card number 1. Okay, now we're going to do card number 2. And this is the one with the Poppy Parade. And if you guys know me, or for those that know me, know that red is my all-time favorite color. I even had red in my wedding dress when I got married. And pink is a pretty darn close first. So I'm a red and pink girl. So we're going to take our card base and we are going to fold and burnish our card base. Okay, and we're going to flip that, or I'm going to take a piece of the, oh, I guess I should have said what's in here, huh? You'll receive a piece of Poppy Parade that will be cut and scored for you. You'll receive 2 pieces of the beautiful Garden Poetry DSP, and you'll receive a piece of basic white to stamp and die cut your sentiment, and you'll receive 2 pieces of basic white, one for your outside mat and one for your inside mat. So the first thing I want to do is I am just going to take my basic white mat, add some seal, and this is going to go right on the front of our card base. Just leaving even margins all the way around. I'm going to smooth that down. Then I'm going to take my pieces of DSP, I'm going to add seal, and I'm going to put them at a slight angle towards the middle-ish right side. I'm just going to kind of go like that, and then I'm going to flip the other one over, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of go at a little angle here like that. And then remember I said about the piece of basic white, this is for your stamping and die cutting. And then I want to clean my stamps off. Normally when I do my live videos I have everything done. Today this was kind of a fast decision, so I did not have anything done ahead of time, so I do apologize. So the video is going to be a little bit longer than what it normally is. So yeah, I just thought, you know, I'm just going to do it and we're just going to go with it, right? Sometimes you just have to go with the flow. I'm just cleaning my stamps off so that they're ready. Let's see. I think I got them clean. Alright, so we are going to do what is called second generation stamping. So I'm going to take my Poppy Parade and we're going to stamp it in full strength first and then stamp again for our second generation. Another way to do second generation is you would just stamp on a piece of scrap paper and then stamp off and then stamp. But I wanted to have 2 flowers. So I am just going to stamp this right here. Okay. And then I'm going to stamp off. This is like stamping off, but I'm still going to use this. And then you have your lighter shade. Isn't that beautiful? These stamps, you guys, the detail in these are so crisp. I mean, look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? Ugh. Absolutely love it. Okay, and then well, we still need this. This is our thank you. Might as well get your stamping done, right? So you're going to take your piece of basic white that's in your kit, and I'm stamping up the word thank you. I absolutely love the font. It is so big and so pretty. So we're going to stamp that down, and then this way we can die cut right away. Okay, so we're going to close this up. I'm going to grab my dies and I'm going to first take my banner die and I'm going to line this up and I'm going to use some Post-it tape. I've got some sitting here that I reuse. And we're just going to place this right about there. Then I'm going to take I'm going to have to cut this twice because I have 2 flowers and 1 die. So I'm just going to place on the first one, the full strength Poppy Parade. Okay, move this out of the way so we can bring in the cut and emboss machine. And the first thing I'm going to do is, well, I could probably do both at one time. I'm going to put my thank you up here. And this, it's okay that your paper is off the edge of your plate. So make sure I have space. run it through. Excuse the noise. And if my camera's shaking, I apologize. And then I'm just going to take these off so that I can use this die again on our second flower, which, oh, so pretty. Okay, so I'm just lining this up. Once I know I can see the stems, I know I have it pretty darn close to where it should be. So when you can see that V in there, those little stems, I was going to say branches. Psh, not a branch, it's a stem, right? Put this out of the way. I'm definite. Oops, took my card right with it. I'm going to get arm workout today with lifting that big guy up, right? The big boss. All right, so we're going to set this aside because we're going to use that for our other cards. I'm going to take this off. See, isn't that just beautiful? And the die gives it like a little bit of, I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. It's probably blurry now. Gives a little bit of a line around it. So pretty. All right, I'll move this. Let's see, put that there. All right, so now we are going to take, and I know I want my sentiment right about there. I got a little bit of glue on there. Okay, but remember I said at the beginning I wanted to try a different bowl instead of the gray granite. I was thinking maybe I should use this Secret Sea. I think that would be really pretty. Let's try that. Okay, so I'm going to do this first before... No, I think I'm going to add my flowers first. Yeah, let's add our flowers first. So we're going to put this one here, and this one here, and this there. Yeah, and I'm going to use dimensionals. This one I don't have to worry where the dimensionals go. It's the lighter one that you want to just make sure they're on the edges. Then you get an even across instead of having to double stack the dimensionals. And I'm just going to line this up like that. Then I'm going to take my dimensionals, and I know that when I flip it over, it's this side right here. Okay, so I'm just going to put one there, and I'm going to put one right here. And now if you want, you could add some adhesive here to adhere to the other flower, but I chose not to. And I am just staggering this a slight bit here. Okay. Now I'm going to take my seal and put it on the card front over the DSP for my faux bow. And I'm just going to take a piece here and snip it off. I always go a little bit bigger than what I think, because you can always cut it off, but you can't add it, right? Okay, and this is rather large, but I'm going to go at an angle, and then I'm going to just press it down into these other pieces, or the other section of where the seal is. Okay. And then my sentiment, I'm going to lay, oh yeah, you know what? I do like that Secret Sea on there. I think that is really pretty. I think the gray granite is pretty too. Okay, so my dimensionals, I want one on this, on the left, and one on the right. Okay. Whoops. Okay, and I'll just peel these backings off. And then I'm going to put that right over here. And I'm not going all the way to the edge. I'm kind of centering it from side to side. You know, as much as I could center or straighten anything, right? I'm going to trim these off. Oh yeah, I do like that. I think white would be really pretty too. I mean, I think it would show because of the DSP and the flowers. I don't know if it would get too lost in there. I'm not sure. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Garden epoxy dots. And let's see, I think we should use the blueberry bushel. Well, no, I used the Flirty Flamingo ones before. I think we could still use the Flirty Flamingo ones. Oh, I don't have any Flirty Flamingo on that one. Let me grab my other pack of dots here, because I know I opened another set. Here we go. I'm going to take your pick tool. And I'm gonna, I'm still gonna go with the Flirty Flamingo, and I'm gonna go one right here. And let's see, I'm gonna go one right here. And we're gonna go one right here, if I can get it off. It's taking all my putty with it. These are really sticky, which is good. That means they'll stay on, right? Okay, so what do you guys think? Do you like the gray granite or the Secret Sea one better? I don't know, I like them both. Yeah, they're pretty. Either one I think would work. Okay, so card number 3. Let's see which one we have here. Card number 3. Let me grab the card here so you guys can see what we're working on. It's right here. And in your kit, this is what you'll receive. Okay, you'll receive a Blackberry Bliss card base that will be cut and scored for you. You'll receive a piece of basic white, 2 of them, one for the outside and one for the inside. You'll also receive a piece of the DSP that will be cut for you for the front of your card. Now, as you can see, this one looks a little darker, but this paper is not the same all the way across. It goes lighter to darker, so yours might be just a little bit different than this one. You'll receive a piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock for a mat, and you'll receive this white mat, and we are going to dry emboss this with the leaf embossing folder, and again a white strip to stamp and die cut your sentiment. Okay, so this card I cased from another demonstrator, and his name is Brian King. I saw this card and just instantly fell in love with it. A lot of times when I case a card, I change it up a little bit. This one I didn't. I just loved it instantly, and I love all the matting. And I think that's how I fell in love with it. And of course, I mean, the colors are so pretty. But it's something that I used to always do when I first started making cards. So I always put a lot of mats on, and I don't know why I got away from that, but I did. I mean, I still mat, but I don't do as many as I used to. And yeah, this side's really pretty too, isn't it? Okay, so this is the side we want to use though. It kind of looks like a tie-dye kind of. Okay. I'm going to take this. Berry Burst and Blackberry Bliss look so awesome together. Okay, so we have this done. I'm going to set these aside because I want to bring in, I'm going to bring it in a couple different times, but I want to bring it in to do the embossing because it is a 3D embossing folder, and so you're going to need plate number 4. For your 3D embossing folder. So we have this, and then I'm going to bring in the big guy. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take our piece of paper, our basic white panel, and we're just place it wherever you want in your embossing folder. And then I'm just going to run that through. And the 3D on this is just... Now, my cards today, I did not use the die cut that goes in the embossing folder and you put both together. But I will, at the end of the video, I will show you how, if you want to make a card that uses that, you can, and show you how you place the die in the embossing folder. Okay, I'm going to just kind of put this back together again. Flip that over here, get this out of the way. All right, so now I'm going to take my embossed piece. As you can see, it's just really pretty. I'm going to take some seal. Now I'm going with a lighter hand because of the embossing does change the fibers of the paper when you run it through. Okay, and we are going to add this right to this Blackberry Bliss mat. Okay, and now this mat, I am going to put dimensionals on the back of this one. And we're just gonna, I always like to use 5 because I like to have one in the middle. You don't want your middles to be all saggy and wonky, right? Who wants that? Okay, so we peeled these off. And we are gonna, sorry, I was gonna put it back on the same exact card. Huh. Okay, there isn't really a right or wrong way, but this seems right to me. I'm gonna place this right in the center, trying to leave even margins all the way around. Then I'm gonna take my Blackberry Bliss ink pad, and I am going to, and now again too, I did double up on my sentiment here. You could use one of the other sentiments. One of the other ones that we didn't use was "You Are So Lovely," I believe. And I was like, oh, I should have used that on this card, and I didn't. And I didn't want to redesign because I really liked how this looked. I like the thinner sentiment on here. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to shut that up. Then I'm going to take Berry Burst ink and Shaded Spruce. And we are going to stamp and die cut. And now that I'm doing this, I think for your class, I'm going to add 2 sheets, 2 half sheets. Because I don't know if you guys are going to have enough space. Okay, so we are going to make sure our stamp is clean because I did use Poppy Parade and I don't remember if I cleaned it off. I don't think I did, but we're going to clean that off. Then we are going to take our larger leaf, and I'm cleaning this one off. You can't see me, you can probably hear it though. Okay, so we have that. And then I have a smaller leaf, but this one is the stamp that has 4 leaves on it. I don't think I've used it again, but I'll wipe it over my chamois just to make for sure, right? Okay, so we are going to stamp this in Berry Burst. And I should have re-inked my Berry Burst, but I didn't. But it's a good color. I'm going to go right here. Yeah, it could be a little darker, so mine probably needs to be re-inked. But I mean, it's not a really, really dark color anyway, so maybe not, but it probably could use a re-inking. And then I'm going to do Shaded Spruce. Now, I normally don't use Shaded Spruce in the summer. Shaded Spruce to me is like a Christmas color, so I was really happy when this had Shaded Spruce in it because it kind of made me step outside my comfort zone. Okay, so I'm going to start with the little. I'm going to ink this up. And I'm going to stamp that right about here. Okay. Then I'm going to take this big guy. And we're going to do the same thing. Just inking him up. I'm holding on to this because if I don't, it really makes a clanking noise with my glass mat. And I'm going to go right let's see, I'm going to go down a little bit for space. I will have a guideline to show you where to stamp on your paper to get so everything will stamp and die cut for you. There will be a stamping guideline that, and you can do all your stamping at the beginning, which I really like. But like I said, this was a last minute thing and I did not have that ready, so I do apologize. But it will be in your PDF with your kit. Okay, so now we have this, and I'm going to grab my dies again. Okay, and we are going to use this one, and this one. Okay, and I did not put my die back for my sentiment, so we may have to hunt for that. See, that's why I always put stuff away, or I'm trying to be better about it. Okay, so we're going to do this first, and we're just going to have to run through the embossing machine again so that I can look for the sentiment. See, and this is what I mean about leaving space, because otherwise you would have to run it through a couple times. This just saves time and paper, I think. Okay, we have that one. My post-it note tape. I think I might need a new piece here. I'm not quite sure why I keep reusing the same one, but I do. Put your plate number 3 on the top. Okay, and I'm going to run that through. And hopefully we can find our sentiment die label, our label die. Okay, and I'm just going to set, I know we're going to use this again, but I'm going to set it out of the way so that we can look for that other die. And by we, I mean me. Okay, let's put that out of the way. Let's put that up there. I can't have gone very far, right? Okay. Because we just used it, because see, here's the one we cut out, and I don't know what it is, but I don't know if you guys are like this, but when you use like a darker color ink, do you seem to get it everywhere, or is that just a me thing? That might just be a me thing. Okay, it's not on my magnet sheet, you guys. Ah, there it is, underneath the magnet sheet. Good place for it, right? Okay, so first things first, let's take this off of here. And we'll save this. I might get the rest on there, you guys. I might. It will be close. But I think I still am going to give you guys 2 sheets. Okay. Put this here so I don't lose it. And take my sentiment. Get my little bits off. Alright. My much loved die cutting plates. Okay, sentiment or post-it note tape over the top. Move everything out of the way, right? I don't have a very big space, so we just kind of have to push and shove, right? Right. Okay, so now we're gonna run this puppy through here. Okay, and we're gonna pull this out. And go like this. Ta-da! Another beautiful die cut. Okay, let's put this on the magnet sheet. What do you think, huh? That might be a good idea. Put this like that. We have that. Okay. This there. And this here. All right, and I'm going to take a minute to take another wipe and wipe my fingers off, because otherwise I'm going to get this all over white paper and I'm going to be upset with myself that I didn't take the time to clean my fingers off. And it won't come completely off, but it shouldn't leave too much of a mark. All right. Let's move this. And I am going to take a little bit of drink of my iced tea here. Okay. I'm going to move these out of the way and bring this back in so that we can see what we're doing. And I am going to put a leaf here. I always like to kind of lay my things out first before I put anything down. That way I kind of get an idea where I want to place things. Because I am going to have ribbon go through another faux bow, and I'm going to put "You Are Appreciated" right down here towards the bottom of the leaf. And I am going to use liquid glue for my leaves, and I'm just going to put the glue towards the bottom. Because I like to kind of flip the leaves up a little bit. Okay, we're just going to go like that. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on this one. But before I lay it down, I'm going to take my flower and use it as my guideline. And I'm just going to put this under there. Okay, and then I'm going to take my seal, and I want it to go right through here. I'm being careful, and I'm going to use some of that really pretty Blackberry Bliss ribbon, and we're going to cut a piece off. And it's kind of shiny, shimmery. It's really pretty. I know I say that about everything, but I always say that, you know, when people say, "Oh, what's your favorite?" or it's always what I'm using at the moment. I'm always like, "Oh my gosh, I love this, so pretty." And then I move on to the next one. I'm like, "Oh, but look at this one. Oh my gosh, so pretty." Okay, so there's our, whoops. I didn't push it in the seal. There's our faux bow. Okay, now I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of my Berry Burst flowers. And we're going to just put one towards the top and one towards the bottom, leaving that center open for space for our ribbon. Okay, and then we're just going to go right like this. Then I am going to take my sentiment, and I want my sentiment to go right about here. So I am only going to, well, my ribbon's a little different than this card. So let's see. I think I'm only going to put a dimensional on the right side, and I'm going to use a mini. And I'm going to peel this off, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this on here. Whoops, I still have the backing on me. I'm going to see if I can't move this ribbon over just a tad. Yeah. Yep. Okay. And then I'm going to replace this here. And I am going to put another dimensional on the side. Now that I've moved that ribbon out of the way, I can place that. So I'm just going to peel that other backing off, and we're going to go right over the top, just like that. And then I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to trim off my ribbon, and then we're going to add some of these pretty Berry Burst dots. Okay, and let's see, I'm going to use them off of this sheet here. And I'm going to put one right here. We're going to make our triangle. Okay, I need to get some putty to come up here because my last embellishment took all my putty off. Okay, and then I'm going to go right here. Like I said, we're going to make our triangle, so here, here, and here. And then we're going to go right here. So there is card number 3. Such a gorgeous card. And as I said, I did case this card by demonstrator Brian King. He makes some absolutely gorgeous cards. Okay, so let's move this one out of the way. And then we are going to make this super pretty with that shimmery paper. We are going to do a little bit more coloring with the colored pencils because I liked it so much on the first card. I thought, well, I'm going to add it on our last card too, right? Okay. So, in your kit, you will receive a Berry Burst card base. You'll receive a piece of basic white for the inside of your card. You'll receive a piece of Berry Burst cardstock for your mat, and another piece of Berry Burst. It's going to be smaller. You'll know the difference when you line them up. This is to die cut the hexagons. I think that's what they're called, hexagons. Then you're going to receive the piece of this beautiful shimmer specialty paper, and I used the Stylish Shapes dies for my banner. I wanted a little bit different look than the other one. If you so choose, you could put your sentiment on a piece of basic white with this die. Well, maybe we should try that. Should we try that, you guys? Yeah, let's try that. We'll see which one we like better. Okay. Then you can decide. If I decide that I think it looks much better, you'll get both, like enough paper to die cut another one. Okay, so let's fold and burnish our card base. I've got two bone folders out here. I'm not quite sure why, but I do. Okay, because I have my like original, and I have my one from Incredible Crafters. That's the team I'm on. That's Melissa Faust's team, so I have that one. And then I have the one with my name on it. This is for my team, the Crafty Card Crew. Everybody that joins my team receives a Stampin' Up. As you can see, this is well used. A Stampin' Up bone folder with your name on it and their team name, Crafty Card Crew Stamping Team. I love my bone folders. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to, I know we're going to keep pulling in and out the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but this just seems to work easier for me. And we are going to run our specialty paper through our embossing folder, the leaf embossing folder. Okay, and you know, I said I was going to show you guys how to use that other die. You know what, let's do it now. Then we don't have to, then we won't do it just at the end. We'll just do it on this card. Okay, so this is the other die, and this goes in your embossing folder. It does not cut everything out, but it cuts some so that your leaves can you know, stand up if you so choose. Okay, so you see what I did? I took my die, I turned it till I saw which was the correct way. And the correct way is, when you're looking at your dies, can you see here, these at the bottom, see how these are more open than this side up here? These are closed. So this side goes on the side that has, see the Stampin' Up symbol here? Okay, so on the other side here, and then what you do is you just take this and you slide it until it locks into place. Okay. Okay. I had it before. There. And it just locks into place. You see? It's not coming off. All right. Then I'm going to take my paper and I am going to lay it right here and lay it down. but I'm going to move this just, well, no, I think I'll leave it where it was. Okay. And there we have that. And now you want to take your gray, your dark gray plate, which is plate number 4, and we are going to run this through. And you can see, oh, there's something to be said about that noise when it's going through. I just love it. All right. Then you can see how this plate works. So cool. Okay. So some are going to come off because it doesn't cover the entire sheet or the entire folder. But maybe, well, we'll see. We might use it on this one. Maybe not. Okay, so see how these fold up? And like this folds up, and this one. They don't all fold up, but some do. And which is really fun is I've seen cards made with this, and then what they do is they put their, they kind of tuck their label under. You could go like this and put like part of it under here and part like under here, so it's like tucked under. I think that's really cool. So yeah, you probably want to use it on like a bigger mat than this, where it's not gonna like cut this off. That probably wasn't the best way for me to show you, but I wanted you to see how to place your the die in the embossing folder and run it through. It is just, I just love that. And two, I mean, you do have these extra pieces you could put somewhere, but I think we're going to I'm going to run it through again, you guys. I'm going to take and I'm going to cut this a new piece. Okay. You know what? No, let's not. Let's put it on our mat and see what it looks like. We might like it, and maybe I'll add these pieces in. Yeah, we're going to go with it. This is how I normally craft when it's just me. I just like to kind of play around with things and see, what I like the best. So I'm going to take my other mat, and yeah, we might really like that. And like I said, if we don't, we'll just take and we'll just glue those pieces back in. Why not, right? Okay. So I'm going to use liquid glue on this piece because there's just too much that could go wrong with the seal on this. And we're just going to dot it around, making sure that we have some in the corners and the top so that it doesn't frill up on us. Okay. And if you want the other pieces to pop up, don't put glue on them. Okay. I'm going to flip this over and put this on our berry burst mat. I like how this is just looks a little bit darker because of the shimmer. And then, whoops, another reason to use the liquid glue, right? And I am just going to, and then you do have that little bit of that Berry Burst cardstock is a little bit different of a color. Oh yeah. And we're adding those hexagons, so that will cover up some of those spots that didn't come out, but we can take these and put them back in. So I think it's pretty. All right, so I'm going to take this. Okay. So that will be up to you guys, however you want to do it. You don't have to run it through with the big, the die in the embossing folder. You can just run it just through the embossing folder like we did on the other card with the basic white mat. Okay, so now we want to take our hexagon shape. Okay. And we're going to cut this 3 times. Okay. And we're just going to, and you have plenty of cardstock, you should anyway. Well, we're going to find out, right? Like I said, this was a very last minute decision because I was not didn't plan to be going out of town, and I won't be back until after Easter, so, and I didn't want to push this off. I really wanted you guys to be able to get this class this week and place your order so that you guys could get this if you wanted it. Okay, so now we're going to do this one. So, you know, I am, you know, somewhat organized. I had, you know, the card kits were cut out, but I didn't have like my stuff, because I usually do that like Wednesday or Thursday morning before my live. I kind of get everything together, and if there's any die cutting or stamping that I would like to do ahead of time, I do that in the morning before the live, or like I said, on Wednesday, just depending on what I have going on. Okay, I'm going to cut out this other one, and I think I'm going to give you guys a little bit bigger of a piece than what I gave myself, because I mean, I know we're going to cut a little bit of that hexagon off, but in case you don't want to cut it off, I'll just give you guys a bigger piece of cardstock in your kit. Oh, and you know what? It only cut off just a little, well, a little bit it cut off. But we're going to cut it anyway, because it's not going to completely go on the card. Some of it is going to be trimmed off. Okay, but before we do that, I am going to take that detail stamp, and I'm going to clean it off, because I can't remember if I cleaned it when we used it with Misty Moonlight. And we are going to do color on color again. That is, I love a monochromatic card. I really do. And I'm going to take my Berry Burst, and we are going to stamp on these hexagons to give the card, I know it already has a lot of texture. This card is all about texture. But I just really liked this instead of just the flat cardstock, and I didn't want to emboss it because you have this piece is already embossed, you know, so. Okay, so I know I want this like this, and there's no right or wrong way. I'm just stamping on here twice. And this one's going to go at the top. And then this one we're going to go on the side, because this one is really going to be cut off. So let's see which way I want to go. Let's go this way. Okay, and I'm going to have it go like this. So I'm going to stamp right here and right there. And then this bottom one, I'm going to stamp just once towards the bottom. Okay, I'm going to get, let's stamp our sentiment. You make the world a better place. I absolutely love this saying, this sentiment. And I'm going with the Berry Burst again. And now I am going to do this on the Stylish Shapes die. And then let's do one with the other one. There was a reason why I didn't, but I designed these cards a little while ago. So here's a piece. I don't remember why I didn't use the one from the set. There has to be a reason why I didn't. I'm just going to go in the middle like that. And then we'll cut with that banner die that comes with the this one. Just to see, since we're messing around, why not, right? That's what's fun about crafting, is just, you know, seeing what works. And if you have the time or, you know, the extra paper, by all means experiment a little bit. Okay, so let's run this through. And we can get that away, and then that way we can stamp and color and then die cut our flowers and leaves, and then we're going to be done with card 4. So really it wasn't too long. It's getting a little long, but I think that's okay. Okay, so we have that. All right. Let's move this out of the way. Put this on my magnet sheet. Okay, before I do my flowers though, I am going to put dimensionals on the back of this. Okay. And like I said, I like to use 5. I like all the corners and the middle. I don't necessarily do the sides. I don't know why, I just never have. I've always just done it this way. Okay, so now let's take and we're going to center that as best we can. Okay, then we're going to take our hexagon shapes, and I'm going to use liquid glue, and we're just going to glue these right on to our matte stack. Okay. I just want to make sure that I have my detailing. Now I'm going to the edge of the specialty paper, not the edge of the matte. So that foil paper, I'm going to the edge of that. I'm just going to press that down. Okay, and I'm going to go to the side here. And because it was already cut off, I don't have to do any trimming on this, and everything else is going to be covered up with our focal point. So I'm just adding some glue, and I'm just going to place this right here. Just like that. So you'd never know that it got cut off. Then we're going to take this one, and this one is going to go right here. So they're not exactly touching, but they're pretty darn close. Okay. And we're going to go like that. And then see what kind of leaves that I had here, and see if I want to add any of those in. And you know what? I think I'm going to, because I kind of like how that looks. And once we get everything else on there, yeah, we'll see how it looks. If I don't like it, I'm just going to put them in, the extra little pieces that came out. Okay, so here we have this. Okay, now I am going to stamp that this flower again, and we're going to stamp it in Berry Burst. Okay, and I'm just going to ink this up, and I'm going to go this direction here to optimize my space. I definitely need to re-ink. This would be a good time to use your stamp positioner tool if you have it, because then if you don't have your, if it's not re-inked, you can go over it and over it and over it till you get the color that you like. But for time's sake, then I'm going to take this, not the smallest flower. There's 2 flowers on here that don't have a stem or a leaf with it. And then I'm just going to take one of my smaller blocks, and we are going to stamp this one in Daffodil Delight. If I can find my Daffodil Delight ink pad, because I did not put it back where it's supposed to go. So what do you guys have for Easter plans? Do you have plans for Easter? Do you celebrate Easter? We always go to my mom's in St. Cloud. She hosts all the holidays. She's been doing it, let's see, I'm 53, so she's been doing it for 53 years. 2 of this guy. Just make sure and leave some space for your dies. And then let's do some leaves. Looks like I have the big guy. And now I was going to say color this off. I'm going to clean this off because I'm going to use Granny Apple Green for this one instead of the Shaded Spruce. I just thought the Granny Apple Green looks so pretty with the Berry Burst. That's in the same color family. So if you have a hard time, you know, figuring out what colors you want to use, since I used Berry Burst, I thought, you know what, I'm going to use Granny Apple Green because they're in the same color family. They're in the brights. That doesn't always the case, but if you struggle, like, you know, I do most days, just choose a green from the same family as your color family as your flower. Okay, so we have that there. Then I'm going to clean off this 4 leaf, and I'm going to make sure it's dry. I'm going to ink that up. Let's see, do we have space? Oh, heck yeah. Okay, we're going to do that one there. I'm going to clean this off, and then we're going to take, did I use the one that has the 3 that we used before? And we're going to put that one up here. So you could get by with 1 sheet, but I don't know. I think that you guys should have 2 sheets, or maybe a sheet and a half. Then you can do your flowers all on one and your leaves all on another, maybe something like that. Okay, so now let's take our dies, and we should only, well, we are going to have to run it through twice because I used the same size flowers. So if you wanted to and you don't run it through twice, just do 1 bigger and 1 littler. Then you only have to run through 1 time. Okay, so here's our Berry Burst. And like I said, I always just like to make sure that both of those stems are in the, you can see them. Then you pretty much know that it's in the right spot. I'm just going to shimmy that just a little bit over. Okay, I'm going to take this bigger leaf. I'm going to place that and grab some of this Post-it note tape here. And I'm going to do the same thing. Just look to make sure that you can see that stem in the bottom. Okay, then you know you have it in the right spot. Then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put that here, just like this. Okay, so when you're doing your cards, and if you're watching the video, you could just do this right along with me because I am doing all the, well, pretty close to, you know, all the steps. And then we need this one, this die. You guys could play a game. And what did Alicia lose during her video, right? Okay, if you see it, well, I guess I'm not live, you can't tell me. Never mind. All right, well, for now we're gonna do these. Okay, we're gonna bring this guy in, and I see my tape let loose. I'm just gonna reposition this again. I wonder what the heck I did with that die. It's probably in the same place I had the other sentiment one, right? Underneath my magnet sheet. Okay. Oh, the flower. We have to put a flower on there. Let's do that. I need another piece of Post-it tape. And I just use this Post-it tape. I absolutely love it. The roll lasts forever. And now with these, I just spin until it's the right direction. Let's see. Maybe that's, no, maybe I have the wrong one. No, I had the right one. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, I think, before I lay this down, there's a side of the flower that has a little 2 together. And this is 2 together. Let's see if that works. Ha! It did. It did. It did. It did. Okay, we're going to do that. And I'm just going to make sure that that's stuck down. And then I am going to run this through. So like that. the Stampin' Up cut and emboss machine is so superior. And I'm sure everybody has their favorite. I always used to use the Cuttlebug before I started Stampin' Up, buying from Stampin' Up. And even before I was a demonstrator, I had purchased this because I just didn't like the idea of like, oh, you gotta add a little shim to this and a little to that. And my plates were getting bad from there. They were always, like my Stampin' Up ones, I can get them to stop, you know, warping. And so, yeah, I've had this Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine for years. And, you know, before I became a demonstrator even. Excuse me while I take a drink. So yeah, and I just love it. And I never have a problem with it. Everything always cuts out very nice. For me, anyway. And like I said, I always used to use a different one, but... Okay, so I have this guy here. Oh no, this moved on me. That's alright, because some of it's going to be tucked up. Oh god, that's pretty bad. Huh. Alright, this is what happens when you do a video and you do everything as it is. But we're just going to, we may cut this one apart to see what we can get. Because I do not know what I did with that die, and I don't want to waste your guys' time trying to find it. I could stamp another leaf and do this one. I could do that. Let's do that. Okay, we have another, yeah, there's a lot of leaves on here, different things to pick, which is so awesome. I'm just going to grab another block. And let's pick another piece of paper that I have a scrap, and I was using Granny Apple Green. And let's just do this one. And we're just going to die cut another one. I could fussy cut that too. Like I said, that die is around here somewhere, but who knows, right? For all I know, I could have dropped it on the floor. Because I know I used it. Okay. I'm not going to haul this over again. I'm just going to go, you can still see me, I'm sure, but I'm just going to run this through real quick, you guys, okay? You just can't see it. You can see me, but can't see the machine. It's on to the left of my desk. I have, my desk goes around my room. Okay. There, we got another leaf that we can use. All right. Set that aside, but keep my dimensionals. All right, so we are going to start with our leaves, and these will get mini dimensionals, but I'm only using this top portion. And I'm thinking I can cut this off to use in my other, where I'm missing one. Yep, I'm just going to snip this off. And nobody will be the wiser. Then I'm just going to fix this so it doesn't look like I chopped it apart. And I'm just going around to fix it. Okay, and I'm going to add some mini dimensionals to the top leaves. I don't need them across the whole entire thing because I am covering, you know, going layer on top of layer. I'm just using 3. Peel these off. Maybe. Okay, and I'm going to place this one right here. Okay, then I'm going to take the berry burst, and see, you can see I've already covered up what I'm cutting off, and I want that to go like this, and I am going to use dimensionals. I'm going to use the bigger ones, the regular size ones, And I am going to put just 2, just enough to add just a little bit. I'm going to go like that. Then I'm going to take this guy and I'm just going to take some glue. I'm going to tuck him under. Well, I think I might wait on that. I think I'm going to do this yellow. I bet you I only cut 1 yellow flower, you guys. I am so sorry. Okay, so we're going to take this yellow flower and we're going to pop him. We're just going to use glue. We're going to set him right down. Then we are going to try this and see if we like this. And I think the reason was I thought maybe it covered up too much. But you know what? It really doesn't. I think that looks really nice. So that will be up to you. You'll receive the banner, the Stylish Shapes die cut, and a piece of paper to try out which one you like the best. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this because I'm going to put seal right here for my ribbon. And we're going to use that Berry Burst ribbon again. And I'm just going to cut a piece off. I'm going to do the same thing when I'm making a faux bow. I just fold it in half. And then I just take my finger, because then I know I have the center. And I'm angling it a little bit. And again, I'm just placing it down where I have the other seal. You know, the exposed seal. I'm just going to go like that. And then I'm going to take my sentiment and I'm just going to put a dimensional on each end. Yeah, I really do like that. I'm wondering why when I designed these cards I thought that I didn't use it. I'm not sure why. Okay. So then, and as you can see, we are covering up some of those pieces that came out. I'm going to do that and that. Then I'm going to take my scissors and we are going to just snip and snip. Then I'm going to take this other leaf and I want that to go here. And I bet you I did not cut out that other flower. Well, let's quick cut that out because we're almost done. Might as well, right? And thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for understanding why, well, you don't know why, but that I'm not live, that I pre-recorded. I hope that's okay. And then next week will be Coffee and Cards with Lish. Okay. And then, if you receive my newsletter, it will have my full April schedule will be on there. And my newsletter goes out on Wednesdays. So you'll receive that on Wednesday, your newsletter. And by the time you're seeing this video, you should already have had the newsletter. Because I still will post this video. I'm making it today, which is Tuesday. But I'm going to post it on Thursday. Okay, because I'm leaving for St. Cloud tomorrow. Alright, so I'm going to take this yellow flower and I want that yellow flower to go tuck under here, but I also want this leaf on here like this. So I'm going to take this leaf and I'm going to take 2 mini dimensionals and I'm just going to put one on this leaf. And then I'm going to put one on the other. Okay. And I am going to just tuck this right like that. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to add some glue. And then I'm going to slip this underneath here and glue it right onto that leaf. Then I'm going to take these, the Berry Burst but I'm going to use the ones with the flowers in them, and I'm going to put them on the sentiment label instead of on the card so they don't get lost. And we're going to do like we do, and we're going to make our triangle. So I'm going to go one here. Oh, I just really love these clear embellishments with that flower in the center. That is so pretty. We're going to go one there, and then we're going to make our triangle, so we're going to go right there. This one I did a little bit different, but it is a different shaped label. And then we're going to go right like that. And there is card number 4. So let's bring all this stuff in, all my other cards. I'm just going to go like this. See, ta-da, clean desk, right? Okay, so let's bring in our other cards so you can see them all together. So we have this one and this one, and we made this really pretty Misty Moonlight one that we kind of changed up a little bit with our embellishments, but I think still is really pretty. And then we made this pretty Poppy Parade with the 2 different ribbons. You'll have to decide which one you like better. And then we had this super gorgeous. And look at, you can see the different colors of how this was a darker on the DSP than this. Same 12 by 12 sheet, but it's still, look at that, it's just gorgeous. And then this one, and then this one. So thank you so much for watching today, and thank you so much for understanding the little bit of a schedule change. It's not really much, but it's just the only difference is that I won't be live. And then I am extending, because of Easter Sunday, I know people are busy, so I am extending the ordering for my class to go through Monday the 6th. Normally it would be Sunday. I usually cut it off, but I am going to extend it till the 6th. So, all right. Thank you guys so much. If you can like or share this video, that really does help me out. I do appreciate it. And I hope you all, whoever celebrates, have a wonderful Easter. And we'll see you guys soon. Talk to you later. Bye.